What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of After the Credits, the review show that no one asked for. Today we are diving into Ball Pit. This is a very interesting game for me personally because this is not a game that was advertised to me or marketed to me at all. I never heard a thing about this game. I actually found out about it through word of mouth from a coworker at work that was glazing this game, and I decided I needed to try it for myself. So shout out to you, Jason, for recommending it. I had a lot of fun with it, and this video is all about diving into the game, talking about it, and giving it a review. So let's go ahead and do that. Thanks for joining me. Let's get on to the topic at hand. So Ball Pit is a brick breaker roguelike city builder with a little sprinkling of vampire survivors on top. So there's kind of a lot going on here, but it's incredibly creative and unique, and I really enjoy kind of what they've put together here. It was developed by Kenny & Sons, very small independent studio, published by Devolver Digital. I do want to take a second to shout out Devolver Digital. They are actually doing a great job publishing indie games, and as I've mentioned on this channel a few times, indie games are where it's at right now. Where all the creativity is, it's where all the fun games are coming from, is out of the indie scene, in most of them anyways. So shout out to Devolver for finding these, picking them up, and publishing them to get them to a more widespread audience. But back to Ball Pit. How the game functions, essentially there's a city builder aspect on the top side of the map that you have to control, and then there is a run-based system, just like you would experience in any roguelike. And in the run-based system, you use a character. The character is able to use special balls that you unlock throughout the gameplay to shoot up and kill the enemies that are coming down the screen. And obviously, if the enemies get to the bottom of the screen, they attack you and deal damage. If you take too much damage, you die. It's pretty simplistic when you think about it that way. And it's stylized in the way a brick breaker would be stylized. That's kind of the quick summary. So now let's dive into the more detailed stuff. So we had to split this review into kind of two sections because there is the city building side and the run side. And we're going to start with the run-based side, and we'll talk about the city building side a little bit later on in the video. But the primary portion of your gameplay is going to be done in the pit, so to speak, which is just the massive hole on the screen to the south of the city that you're going to be building up as you play through the game. What you do, the progression of the game, is to go into the pit and clear the levels. You have to clear the level 3 times in most cases with 3 different characters to get gears. So you get 1 gear per character clear. You get 3 gears. You are able to upgrade the lift, progress to a lower stage in the pit, I guess I should say. And there's 8 stages in total. There's a lot of creativity involved in the stages themselves. You run into different enemies as you progress down. It gets more challenging and things like that. So the difficulty curve is actually at a very good spot, and it's very interesting and keeps you engaged as you play through the game. But this game is heavily reliant on clearing the same stage over and over again. So much so that, for example, the first stage is the Bone Pit. When you clear the Bone Pit, you unlock a trophy. And this trophy can then be placed in your city. And once you build the trophy, it gives you a permanent upgrade to each character that is then cleared the Bone Pit after the trophy was slotted in. So it really, really prioritizes replay value because that is really the main loop that the game wants you to go on. And thankfully, there's enough systems in place that makes the replaying the levels not so much of a hassle. Doesn't really get repetitive at all. That's all good and dandy. While you're continuing down, each level will have a set amount of blueprints that you can unlock, usually by clearing mini bosses through the stage, or the final boss will drop blueprints. These blueprints are then used again in the city building side, which we're going to get to, but you place those buildings down, those unlock new characters, they unlock new abilities, new stat upgrades, and things like that, that all make your runs a little bit more smooth on the back end. So it's very good. It grows and scales very smoothly in a very fun and rewarding way. And the gameplay itself is a lot of fun. As I briefly mentioned in the intro, there's a bunch of special balls, and this is where the vampire survivors aspect kind of comes in. So as you're playing the game, you're going to have these unique balls. So for example, let's just say you have the poison ball, And then while you're playing through the run, you get the option to select the earthquake ball. If you level both of those balls up to level 3 by collecting the experience in the ball breaker section, you can then evolve those balls together to create a swamp ball. And then you can fuse that ball to another ball. So for example, let's just say you have the swamp ball unlocked, and then you unlock the lightning ball as well. So now you have the swamp ball and the lightning ball. You can actually fuse those together even if they don't evolve into one another. So then you have this swamp ball that deals like an earthquake AoE effect that deals poison to all the enemies in the area. And then you can combine that with the lightning. You can fuse that together. So then you have chain lightning that also deals poison damage. So as you can see, it gets very intricate, allows for a lot of skill expression, and allows you to use your brain and really make some wild combos. And that's kind of the hook of the game, and it's a lot of fun. I think that the evolution system is one of the most overlooked aspects that makes Vampire Survivors so addicting. And not a lot of roguelikes have utilized an evolution system since Vampire Survivors, but this game does it, and it's very rewarding and very satisfying. So now we'll move on to the city building. I like city builders, but I was struggling with this one at first, I will be honest. It wasn't hooking me very well. As I mentioned previously, you unlock blueprints from the pit to then bring up to your city. And then you plop them in your city. And then how you build those is depending on how many characters you've unlocked. There's up to 16 characters you can unlock in the game. Let's say you have 3 characters unlocked. You get 3 workers. So then you go to the city, you shoot the 3 workers at the buildings that are in construction. Once they hit them a certain amount of times, they become built, and then they will activate on the map. So, for example, there's like a military academy that will increase scaling for strength. So every character that you have unlocked will get a bump in strength according to the scaling from that building, if that makes sense. It gets a little complicated. I don't know why I struggle with that word, but that's kind of how the base building system works. On top of that, in the city building section, you have to also put resource locations on the map. So you need trees or logs, stones, and wheat in order to build a lot of these materials. I will say I never really gotten to a point where I didn't have enough materials to build a building when I wanted to, but if you don't set your city up in a way that you can actually farm those reasonably efficiently, I guess I should say, that can become an issue. So it does take a little bit of brain power to kind of put your city together. And for the longest time when I was playing the game, I was like, God damn it, I gotta do the city fucking thing again. You know, this is a very interesting mechanic, and while I do believe it fits the theme of the game very well because it is essentially a brick breaker kind of style city builder, which is unique, it always felt like it was just taking me out of what I really wanted to do, which was the runs themselves, because that's where my love for the game kind of came from. But as I played the game further and further, unlocked more buildings that had a lot more unique statistics and things like that, and was able to learn the system more, it grew on me. It's still not my favorite aspect of the game, but even though I don't feel highly on the base building, I enjoy that it's here because it is incredibly unique, very fitting for the theme, and they developed this system that fits in the game so well, even though it's just not my favorite part. I also want to commend the development team for their creativity. This ties back into the last point about the city builder fitting into the theme of the game and fitting into the gameplay, but the amount of balls in this game, the amount of combinations for evolutions is astounding, and in particular, the characters in this game are absolutely wild. Some of the ideas they came up with for some of these characters absolutely blows my mind, and you would be shocked at how much the gameplay from run to run will be changed just based on the character that you choose. Some of them are very simple, where you just start the game with a different ball, and, you know, that's pretty common. But as you unlock later characters, you get into characters that will pick upgrades automatically for you. They will play the entire game by themselves. So you can set the controller down and just let the game do its thing. And there's even one that turns the game into a turn-based game. So it makes a brick breaker game into a turn-based game where you shoot the balls, they come back, and then the enemy progresses one slot, and then you go. I mean, it's crazy the stuff that they came up with. It's just absolutely phenomenal, honestly. It's very, very cool. There are some characters I don't like at all, which is just a downside of having so much creativity in the game. In particular, I do not like the tactician, which is the turn-based guy. I find that incredibly boring. But some people are going to love it. So it just is what it is. Not every character is going to hit with you just because of how diverse that they are. But nonetheless, creativity is off the charts here. Now we'll dive into the minute points. The graphics in this game are absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. I love it. It's kind of like a gothic, dark art style. I think the enemy blocks look cool. I think the character designs are cool. It's almost pixel art. I think it is pixel art, actually. But the aesthetic around the game is really cool. I consider myself kind of an elder emo, to be honest. I like my dark, gritty stuff. I like heavy metal, death metal, all that weird, you know. I'm still an edgy old man. Okay, so this aesthetic fits what I like incredibly well, and I think the art style is done well. I love the evolution screen that pops up. They just have this beautiful color show of like the universe kind of twisting into each other, and it looks really appealing on a nice TV. So I think they nailed the graphical style in this game. I wouldn't ask for anything different, to be honest. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. The music in the game is very subtle. There's nothing that's going to absolutely blow your mind. I don't believe in music terms, but the music is all very, very fun and very good. It's not annoying. It's very, it's an instrumental soundtrack. There is no vocals, but it fits the theme very, very well. It's not a soundtrack I would listen to for fun, per se. I feel like I heard the music enough when I played it, not that I was tired of it, but it's very atmospheric, perfect for the setting, perfect for the tone of the game, and I think all the tracks are very solid, just not really my genre, so it's not a soundtrack I'm going to pull out of the game and listen to outside of it, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I think it's actually quite good, and I enjoyed listening to the tracks that they composed for this game, for sure. And then, you know, the last thing I'll mention here is that the game took me about 20 hours to fully complete, unlock everything, beat the game, start New Game Plus, and I actually have, for some reason, played it after New Game Plus. I never do that, but this is an easy game to pop in on my PlayStation Portal when I'm laying in bed. If I have like 15 minutes before I pass out and I want to do a quick run, I usually fire up Ball Pit still. So it's a game that's kind of stuck around even after I beat it, which is very uncommon for me. So that says a lot about the game. And I think it's a lot of fun. So you're going to get 20 hours of unique content here for sure. And then it's very easy to slip into a pattern where this is just a game that you boot up after completion to progress New Game Plus, continue to scale those buildings on the city side to make your characters unbelievably powerful and get that power fantasy. So ultimately, yes, I think this is a really, really fun, enjoyable experience. One that I would probably recommend to about anybody that finds the game interesting to take a look at and to see. And if it sounds at all enticing, I would say it's definitely worth the price. I think it's $40. I could be wrong on that. Let me look. I was incredibly wrong on that. It is $20. So even better value. I would say it's worth it for $40, but definitely worth it for $20 if this game interests you at all. As far as the rating system, of course, we use an S to Cheeks tier list here. I'm going to go ahead and give this game a B. I think it's a solid B. I don't think it does anything to set itself too high on my list, but it's certainly a game that I would recommend to anybody that has any interest in playing it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it'll suit what you're looking for, and yeah, it's a game I think is very solid. I'm going to actually bump that up to an A. I'm going to give it an A. A is usually where I start to recommend stuff to a wide audience, and I would recommend this to a wide audience. So I apologize for the initial B rating. That was rude. I was just thinking about it while I was talking, and I was like, what could I possibly say to bump this game down? And yes, the city building stuff, I never quite grabbed onto, but I got to give it points for its creativity. It's going to get an A for me. Yeah, it's gonna get an A for me. It's hard. It's like right between A and B. The only thing that would bring it down is the city stuff. But I think it's actually decent. What a fucking nightmare. We'll reevaluate this and reassess it for the end of the year recap video. But for this context, for the individual video itself, I'm going to give it an A. I think if you're interested in it whatsoever, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Other than that, though, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. I had a lot of fun with this game. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much again, Jason, for recommending it to me. If you have any questions about the game, down below, because I do all these reviews off the top of my head. I don't take notes, so I'm sure I forgot a bunch of shit. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer anything in there. I respond to everything. Like the video if you did. Enjoy it, and we will see you guys on the next episode. It'll be Ghost of Yotek. So we'll see you for that one in a week or so. So take care. Love y'all. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out.